If there is one idea about the Viking Age that refuses to die, it is the belief that survival in the north depended entirely on endless firewood and roaring hearths. The archaeology tells a very different story. In many excavated longhouses, hearths were small, fuel use was modest, and yet indoor temperatures stayed livable through winters that routinely dropped below freezing. The real secret was not fire. It was how the room itself was built to trap, slow, and recycle heat that already existed. This knowledge was not written down, but it was passed from builder to builder, refined over generations, and it still works today if you understand the principles behind it. The Viking solution began with slowing heat loss instead of creating more heat. The core Viking trick was simple in theory and demanding in execution. Instead of constantly producing heat, they focused on preventing warmth from escaping in the first place. Longhouse walls were built from thick turf blocks layered with timber frames. Turf contains soil, roots, and air pockets that act as natural insulation while also providing thermal mass. Once warmed by bodies, cooking, or a small fire, those walls released heat slowly back into the room. This meant that even after the hearth died down, the room stayed warm for hours. A modern application of this principle is adding mass to the interior of a room rather than relying on lightweight insulation alone. Stone walls, earthen plaster, brick floors, or even water-filled containers placed along walls can store heat from daytime activity and release it overnight without using additional fuel. The Vikings understood that a living space generates heat naturally. People give off warmth. Cooking produces heat. Tools being worked, food being processed, and animals nearby all contribute energy. Instead of isolating these activities, they were concentrated into a single shared space. Sleeping platforms lined the walls, trapping rising warm air. The room stayed warm not because of constant fire, but because heat was never allowed to dissipate. In practical terms, this can be applied today by reducing the volume of space you actively heat. Closing off unused rooms, lowering ceilings with fabric or wood, and arranging daily activities in one area increases temperature without burning fuel. This is especially relevant for off-grid cabins or emergency shelters. The floor played a silent but critical role in heat retention. In Viking rooms, floors were often made of packed earth, clay, or stone. These materials absorbed heat throughout the day and slowly released it back into the space. Unlike modern wooden floors that allow heat to escape downward, earth floors stabilize the indoor climate. The Vikings also layered straw hides and woven mats on top, adding insulation without blocking heat storage. A modern equivalent is installing stone or tile flooring where sunlight or body heat is present. Earth sheltering turned the ground into a natural temperature regulator. Many Viking structures were partially sunk into the earth or built with soil banked against their walls. Soil maintains a relatively stable temperature year-round, far warmer than winter air and cooler than summer heat. Today, this principle can be applied by piling earth against exterior walls, building into slopes, or insulating foundations properly. Even a shallow earth berm around a modern structure can significantly reduce heat loss. One of the most misunderstood aspects of Viking heating was ventilation. These rooms were not airtight. Small roof vents allowed smoke and moisture to escape while retaining warmth below. Warm air rose, but heavy turf roofs slowed its exit. This prevented condensation, mold, and suffocation without dumping heat outside. For modern survivalists, this means, understanding that ventilation does not have to equal heat loss. High vents paired with low air inlets create circulation without drafts. This is especially important in small spaces where moisture buildup can quickly lead to dangerous conditions. Sleeping areas were raised along the walls, often enclosed with wooden frames and heavy textiles. Warm air naturally rose and collected where people slept. Multiple sleepers shared warmth, and thick bedding trapped it. A modern application is, sleeping elevated from the floor, using insulated platforms, and arranging beds along insulated walls rather than near doors or windows. These small changes can actually make a significant difference without any additional energy input. The Viking trick to heating a room without fuel was not a single invention, but really a system of choices all working together. Dense materials, shared spaces, earth coupling, controlled airflow, and even human heat all combined to create warmth that lasted. In a world facing rising energy costs and increasing interest in resilience, these principles are honestly more relevant than ever. They remind us that comfort does not begin with machines, but with understanding how heat moves and how buildings interact with their environment. If this kind of grounded, practical, historical knowledge matters to you, go ahead and subscribe to Ancient Know-How, share this video with fellow history and survival enthusiasts, and help keep these hard-earned lessons alive for the future.